If you miss any of these LLC mistakes, it could literally cost your business thousands. It can even lead you to having legal issues. In this video, I'm going to share with you the biggest mistakes that you need to avoid when you have an LLC. All right, so let's get straight into it. So what is an LLC? An LLC stands for a limited liability company. What is a limited liability company and why is this important to you as a business owner? So you want to think about your LLC now as a separate person. And now that's a separate person, any issues, any legal problems that the LLC has, it's not going to be solely held with the LLC as long as you're compliant and follow the steps in this video. So that's why that's going to be critically important for you. So what is your personal assets? So when I say your personal assets, I mean things such as your house, your car, your bank accounts. Now you are now protected from your personal assets potentially getting caught up in a lawsuit as long as you go ahead and make sure that you're not making these big LLC mistakes. Another big misconception when it comes to LLCs is that LLCs give you a whole bunch of tax advantages, okay? And that's actually a myth, and I want to quickly debunk that and actually have a video over here talking about that. But quickly, I want to share this because this is going to be super important. So here's a big myth that I will also want to debunk as well. Understanding this, that an LLC is actually what's considered a legal entity. What's a legal entity? A legal entity is an entity that's registered with your state. And that's another point that I'm going to bring up in this video, but you want to just be aware that it's registered with your state and it gives you legal protection, okay? So an LLC, a corporation, those are two legal entities that can protect you. You also have a sole proprietorship, you have a partnership. Those are legal entities, but they don't necessarily give you the protection as the LLC or the corporation. So that's number one that you need to understand. Another important note to understand is that LLCs are actually considered disregarded for tax purposes. And the reason why that is because LLCs are legal entities instead of tax entities. And one of the main benefits of the LLC is that it allows you to be able to be taxed in different ways. So with the LLC, you can be taxed as a sole proprietorship, partnership, S corporation, or C corporation. So that is one of the beauties of the LLC. It does give you that flexibility, and that's why it's such a great entity to go ahead and get involved with. Again, just know that it's not required in order for you to save money on taxes. What determines whether you're able to write things off for your taxes for your business is if you are in the pursuit of profit and you're following section 162, which is breaking down how to be able to deduct things for your business, right? And I have another video over here talking about that. Another big mistake as it relates to your LLC is not doing enough research. And when I say research, I mean researching your business, researching your competitors, researching the market, researching to see if it's even a viable business and see if it's something that you want to be able to stick with long term. There's so many people that jump into business and they don't do this initial research to see if it makes sense to be able to do it, because really when it comes to the business, it is really a marathon, okay? You don't want to look at a business as a sprint. You want to see if it's something that you're able to stay long term, and if so, that's what's going to really be able to push you through a lot of things that you have to do. One of the things that you need to do as an LLC, depending on your state, is just being aware of your local laws, okay? So each state is going to have different laws, so you just want to be aware of it. For instance, California has what's called a franchise fee, and that is an additional fee that you have to pay by being in California, versus being in a different state, you don't necessarily have to do that. And you can find some of this information on your Secretary of State website. So it's typically sos.the abbreviation of your state.gov, okay? And that is going to be the official website that's going to give you some more information about the local laws. Another thing to be aware of with local laws is depending on the type of business that you have, you might have zoning laws, you might have zoning issues. So one of the key things I recommend is making sure that you're sitting down with a professional, possibly someone who is in the legal realm, such as an attorney, to really make you aware of what is going to be possible for you and what you need to be aware of as it relates to your specific state. Because if you miss out on permits, if you miss out on licenses, if you miss out on sales tax, which is something else that you need to consider working with a tax strategist to help you with, that could literally cost your business thousands. So don't get caught up and don't have these issues down the line. That's going to be key. The next big LLC mistake is not having the right documentation. So this is going to be really key. So like I mentioned, the LLC is going to give you that legal protection. So one of the key things that you need to understand as it relates to your LLC is that your LLC is going to protect your personal assets. And how is this possible? Okay, so in order for you to do this, you have to make sure that you're compliant. One really critical term that I want you to be aware of is this concept of the corporate veil. And what do I mean by the corporate veil? So the corporate veil, if you want to imagine, like you have your business over here, you have your personal life over here, and the corporate veil is basically like a veil, like it's a partition right down the middle that is protecting you. It's literally like a wall protecting your personal assets from your business. And one of the ways to do that is you want to keep your business and personal separated. So I actually have a rap song called The 10 Tax Commandments. One of the lines I say is you need to keep your business and your personal completely separated. And the reason why I say that is because if you're commingling your personal income and your business income, there's not going to be any kind of separation. It's going to be hard to tell what's going to be personal, what's going to be for your business. So one thing that you want to make sure that you're doing to keep this separation is by having a business bank account. And in order to get a business bank account, you need to get what's called an employer identification number, also known as an EIN. And one of the great things that you could do is you can actually get that for absolutely free on irs.gov. So if anyone's trying to charge you to do that, do not pay this individual, do not pay that business. You can get it for free for irs.gov. You go ahead and go on that website. It's now going to be like a social security number for your business. insurance, and that's one of the good things, right? Again, there's creating that separation. So one of the benefits of doing that is now by having this social security number, which is the EIN number, now you're able to go ahead and apply to the different banks. Now you're able to go ahead and get a business bank account. Now you're able to apply and get business credit and business funding. Like, there's all these different benefits that you're able to do. You don't necessarily no longer need to use your social security number to do it. And that allows you to be able to have that privacy as well, because you know if you go ahead and put your business out there, that's going to be public information. You don't want people going ahead and identifying what your social security number is or any of your personal information that you need to keep protected. Another thing too, to make sure that business and personal is separated, is you really want to operate your business like a business. What do I mean by that? So you want to make sure you have the right legal documents in place. So having an operating agreement when you go ahead and start the business. The operating agreement could just be a simple document explaining how your business is going to operate, the purpose of your business, different rules, different policies, different procedures in your business. That's going to be really key to do and maintain throughout the history of your business. The next thing you want to do is, depending on your state, there's going to be some other legal documentation that you need to have. So you want to make sure you go ahead and sit down with an attorney in your state to go ahead and help you do that. So next big mistake that you need to avoid when it comes to creating your LLC is overestimating how much protection that you have, okay? And I know this might sound counterintuitive because I kept talking about how the LLC has this different protection, but not being properly insured with your business is a huge mistake, okay? So a lot of times, just because you have the LLC does not give you unlimited 100% protection against someone trying to go ahead and sue your business, trying to come after your personal assets. So one of the things that you can do is, if you have insurance, the insurance is going to be able to protect you. So what I recommend for most business owners is to get some general liability insurance. If you are in a profession where you're giving advice, if you're providing advisory type services, you want to have what's called errors and omissions, and there's all these different types of insurances that you want to have in your business. But don't assume just because you have an LLC and you have now that limited liability that your liability is 100% protected, okay? As the name states, it is limited, so it does give you some limited protection, but you still want to make sure that you have business insurance in place as well for your business. And each business is going to have different risks, okay? Let's say that you might be in a business to where it is not as risky, such as like a freelancer videographer. You're doing videos, that's not necessarily risky, but if you're doing something where people can slip and fall, that's really going to increase the reason why you're going to need that insurance in order to protect your business from your personal assets. And that is why it's so critical too, as far as the protection for your business, is that if your business is not making enough money, let's say you're quote unquote undercapitalized, if someone tries to come sue you just because your business doesn't have any money, does not mean that individual, if they have an actual real case against you, doesn't mean that they can't come after you, okay? Another requirement is to make sure you have enough capital, you have enough liquidity in your business to be able to afford to pay someone if they happen to win a court case. So that is why it's so important to have the insurance. The insurance is going to give you that opportunity. You can have a policy that gives you $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, and it literally does not have to cost that much. It can literally be $50, $100, $200, up to $500, $1,000 for the whole year. So it's not something that's going to break the bank, and just by investing that $500 to $1,000 during the year can literally save your business. Another huge mistake that you need to avoid is not making sure that you're compliant with the deadlines and the requirements as it relates to your LLC. So what do I mean by that? So one of the requirements that you need to have with your LLC is filling out what's called annual reports. These annual reports and annual filings need to be registered with your Secretary of State. If you do not have that in place, then you are going to not be compliant, and then your LLC is not going to be in good standing. So what you want to make sure that you're doing is each and every single year, you're going on that Secretary of State website, you're making sure that you're paying the annual fees, because you do have to pay an annual fee in order to maintain your LLC, but then you also need to make sure that you're filling out the annual reports as well. Also, a bonus tip, right, to be able to go over and beyond and really making sure that you're getting that protection, is you do want to be holding board of director meetings. So what do I mean by board of director meetings? So board of director meetings is, again, really making your business like a business, okay? So if you think about all the big corporations out there, the McDonald's, the Facebooks, all these huge businesses, they have a board of directors, and they have these meetings discussing the important business dealings in your business. So one thing that you can do is you can have a board of director meetings even with yourself, okay? One of the things that you want to make sure that you're doing in this meeting is you're documenting and you're recording the minutes, the dates, the times, different conversations or different things that you're looking to do in the business. And just by doing that, it's really going to show that your business is a true business. So in the event that someone tries to sue your business, now you have that documentation to show that you've really been operating your business like a business, and it's completely separate from your personal life and your business life. Another big mistake that people make when it comes to their LLC is using all their personal information. What do I mean by using all your personal information? So one of the things that you want to make sure that you're doing is you have what's called a virtual address. The reason why you need a virtual address is because it's going to create protection from you and your business, and it's also going to create some privacy for your business. So what do I mean by that? When you go ahead and fill out and get this LLC, you can get what's called a virtual address. Virtual address, there's different ways you can do it. You can get it with a local office building. So if you have a Regis, if you have a WeWork, you have some type of space, office space within where you're located, you want to make sure sure that you do that, so you don't necessarily need to work at the physical location. And these offices, you don't necessarily need to work in them. They actually give you what's called a virtual address, to where you're able to utilize their address as a place to be able to direct the mail for your business. And then if you go ahead and receive that, sometimes they have a box for you, sometimes the receptionist collects it for you and calls you, they can scan it for you. So you just want to go ahead and look and see. But with these virtual addresses, now going to create that separation from your business, and again be able to create that privacy that you want, because when you go ahead and register this LLC, it's going to be public information. You don't want people to know necessarily what your home address is. Another huge mistake that you need to avoid when it comes to your LLC is not having a registered agent. So what is a registered agent? So a registered agent basically acts like as a liaison between your business and any type of legal matter. So a registered agent is almost going to be like a virtual lawyer for you, and basically what they do is any type of legal documentation that comes through, it goes and sends it directly to the registered agent. The registered agent collects it on your behalf, and then they go ahead and forward that information over to you. So one of the things that you could do when you're going ahead and getting your LLC registered is they ask you if you're going to be a registered agent yourself, or you're going to have a separate registered agent. So even though you could be your own registered agent, I recommend having that separation between you, your business, and that representation. One, to make sure you're not missing out on anything, but two, to make sure that you're working with a professional that's going to be able to handle these matters extremely well. Another huge LLC mistake that you want to avoid is not keeping up with the regulations and laws. So a huge change that just recently happened is the Corporate Transparency Act. In the Corporate Transparency Act, they now require business owners to fill out what's called a BOI, a Beneficial Ownership Information Report. And on this report, it's going to list out your personal information, who are the owners of the business, and is now required for all LLCs. So if you do not have this, your business could pay literally up to $500 per day, up to $10,000 per business entity. So you want to make sure that you're doing that. What's even worse is if you're not compliant, you could even face up to 2 years of jail time, which could be ridiculous if you're not compliant or not knowing these rules. If you want to be able to learn more about that, you can go ahead and check out this video over here, and I'll see you in the next one. Make sure you subscribe and like. Take care.